All right, next up, it is Clemson and Texas. Now, this one, of course, in Austin, another college football playoff first-round matchup, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific on Saturday. This is the second of the triple header on Saturday of playoff games. Texas, 11.5-point favorites, 51.5 the total in this game. To me, the fundamental handicap, and I'm pretty sold on this now, and this is a game where it's been, I lean Texas. I just think there's so much potentially to be so much better than Clemson in the trenches here in this game. But I keep coming back to the fact, can I get enough production, red zone efficiency, and ultimately finish from Quinn Ewers and the Texas Longhorns offense to trust them as a double-digit favorite? Because one thing I'm very confident in, Clemson is not moving the football consistently against this Texas defense. I don't see it. I do not see it at all. I do not see much success happening for Cade Klubnik. And I know everyone's going to talk all week, and I know I'm going to hear it about he's an Austin, Texas kid, and because of that, watch, he's going to play the game of his life. I'll see it before I believe it. That's where I'm at with that. Against this defense, which has been very good all year, and that defense that did everything, and I mean everything, humanly possible to allow them to try to win that SEC championship game against Georgia. The defense played their guts out for Texas in that game. They just didn't get enough from the offense. They sputtered. They stalled in Georgia territory throughout that entire game, and just not enough, from Quinn Ewers, to finish drives. And that's a game they should have won because it was 22-19 Georgia in overtime. You look at the yardage. I mean, almost 400 yards for Texas. They had an over 100 yardage advantage in that game against Georgia, but they just failed.
It was like 250 to like 10, Babano, at halftime in that dominating first half. Yes. Yep. It was insane.
It was insane.
6 points.
Yeah, and that's the fear for me here, that they move the ball, and they will. I think they will move the ball against Clemson, but can they finish enough? And they just seem to implode, and penalties and holding and drop passes, and Quinn Ewers taking a sack at the wrong time. I was very disappointed we didn't see more Arch Manning run game and packages for him, and I thought we'd see that from Sark against Georgia. Maybe he's saving it for this game because this is the game that's even more important, playoff game here against Clemson. Maybe we'll see a little more Arch Manning in the red zone more often here in this game. So I truly believe this has the potential to turn into a 2-touchdown win for Texas, and I don't trust Clemson enough. Clemson benefited from turnovers and some good fortune early against SMU, and then the adjustments were made at halftime, and Clemson did nothing, on offense in the second half against SMU, and SMU turned that game completely around. Clemson got a good kick return after SMU tied it, and they didn't have to get far to get in field goal range, and they were able to hang on, survive, and win. It's going to be a taller order against Texas. I lean to lay in the points. This is a favorite I do like in Texas, but I kind of feel like the better bet because there's that part of me that says, well, what if Texas is just a shit show again when they get the ball in Clemson territory like they were against Georgia? The better bet might be if you want to bet against Clemson like I do, take Clemson team total under. That might be the best approach. I think that is the best approach. Rather than laying 11.5, because I'm still a little sketchy on whether we get enough execution and efficiency from the Texas offense, take the Clemson team total under. That I do feel good about because I don't see Cade Klubnik and the Clemson offense, which, again, this is not the greatest pool of receivers they have to test the secondary of Texas either. I don't see them moving the ball up and down against this really good Texas defense that played well down the stretch, did everything they could. And the team total is in the 20.5, 19.5 range right now. With Clemson, I would look at that under. I don't think they're cracking 20 points in this game. And this is a game for the full game total. I would lean under as well. I think it's definitely going to fall under that 51.5. I hope it's something along the lines of, 28-10, something like that in favor of Texas. That's kind of what I have in my mind as a potential. I just don't see Clemson moving the ball with a ton of effectiveness. If they do, credit to them. But it would be something that really surprises me because I don't buy into Clemson offensively against the best defenses they've played. Look at the Georgia game, the first game of the year, when they got completely shut down, Clemson, in that blowout loss to Georgia. So I lean Texas, but I think the better bet if you want to fade Clemson and bet Texas is just take Clemson team total under and put more of your money on the Texas defense rather than the Texas offense for this playoff game. C-Mac, what do you think here? Clemson, Texas.
Yeah, that's what we talked about last week. I think that's the move here, and the under in this game too. I think the full game under will get there, unless Texas all of a sudden is going to be great in the red zone, and score a ton of points and maybe get over their team total. But when I go back, like Georgia was lucky to get 22. A&M did have a chance or two, but they weren't scoring more than 14. They only gave up 7 to him. To me, this defense, is top 3, and it's been one in a few categories, and it's one especially against the pass. The secondary has been really, really good all year long. They only gave up 140 yards through the air, and the run defense is good too all year long. They barely give up 100 yards on the ground. I don't know if Clemson's going to get much there from their offense through the run game too. So, and then you got to put in the hands of Klubnik to win the game. I don't think so at all. Their offense, though, it's just to watch it go down in these games, even against A&M, and then like Arkansas at Arkansas, it's just sputtering down there, doing nothing. Turnovers, like you talked about, sacks, flags, just the whole thing. Like maybe being at home will be good for them after what happens. And you got to get back up for this. Like you lost that, but fuck, this is the playoffs now. Like that, all that shit goes out the window.
They've probably already forgotten that SEC championship. This is the game that matters. Yeah.
Yeah. But I have to say, Sark here is just a big game. I don't know if I want him. You know what I mean? That's why I like the team total under and the under these bets. Like I think they win by 2 touchdowns. But he's another guy that hasn't proven or shown me really shit at all. So just isn't one of Dabo's better Clemson teams. So it's tough to look at them.
Yeah, I can't get Clemson versus Georgia out of my mind. And this is probably the best team, but certainly the best defense Clemson's played since Georgia. And we saw what Cade Klubnik and them did against Georgia.
Yeah. I don't think they played anybody. South Carolina, pretty good. That was a low-scoring game right at the end of the year. Yep.
Yeah, they only
pretty
scored
good defense
in that game. They only scored 14 in that game. So that tells me that the team total is the best bet. If you like Texas like I do, and you're worried about the offense like I am, because I don't want to be there like a dope with 11.5 in my pocket laying the points, and I get a 20-10 final score instead of 28-10, where they're just not efficient enough offensively to cover the number. But they do shut down Clemson, and they win like I said, 20-10 or 20-14. That kind of a fine. I don't want to deal with that and lay 11.5 when I could have bet the team total under on Clemson and won. So that's why I think if you're in my shoes here and you think Clemson's going to struggle to move the football against Texas, take the team total under for Clemson. 20.5, 19.5. Both of those numbers are out there because I think they're going to have a hard time breaking 20 or 3 touchdowns in this game. And the evidence points it out. 14 points against South Carolina, and obviously what happened early in the season against Georgia, when they got completely shut down in that game and only scored 3 points against the Bulldogs.